Starting with news from Myanmar, Myanmar's military junta has escalated efforts to quell a growing civil disobedience campaign across the country. The country's new military rulers have stepped up the arrests of politicians and activists after rolling back laws protecting freedom. Now, security forces have been deployed with armored vehicles in major cities. The cut-off of internet services deepened the fear. The internet has now been restored. Despite intensified crackdown by the new military government, protesters continue to gather for now daily rallies. About 100 protesters had a face-off against soldiers in armored vehicles outside the central bank in Yangon. And the country has been in uproar since last week when military detained Aung San Suu Kyi and ousted her government. Suu Kyi has been remanded in custody until Wednesday and not Monday as previously thought. Suu Kyi's detention was due to expire on Monday, but as her lawyers informed, she was remanded until February 17th. U.S. Embassy in Myanmar has cautioned its citizens after reports of military movements. A United Nations rights envoy said that Myanmar's generals will be held accountable for any suppression of burgeoning civil disobedience campaign. The UN Special Rapporteur for Myanmar, Tom Andrews, wrote on Twitter, I'm quoting here, "It's as if the generals have declared war on the people of Myanmar. These are signs of desperation. Attention, generals, you will be accountable. You will be held accountable." Calling on security forces to refrain from violence against demonstrators and civilians, ambassadors to Myanmar issued a joint statement saying, "We support the people of Myanmar in their quest for democracy, freedom, peace and prosperity. The world is watching." The police are now hunting 7 people who have lent vocal support to the protests, including some of the country's most famous democracy activists. Myanmar's new military regime has also issued arrest warrants for veteran democracy campaigners supporting anti-coup protests. 7 police officers broke ranks to join anti-coup protesters in the southern city of Dawai, and soldiers had fired tear gas and shot at crowd. In yesterday's protest, police later arrested at least 5 journalists reporting from the scene. A group of protesters in Yangon held a prayer for a teenager who was shot in the head when the police cracked down on a protest. 20-year-old Mya Khang was the first known serious casualty of the protest. Her wounding rallied support for the movement seeking to reverse the February 1st coup. Now she remains in a hospital in the capital, Naypyidaw, and she is on a life support.
ဒီလိုစစ်အာဏာရှင်စနစ်အတွက်ကျွန်တော်တို့ဘယ်သူမှစရီမခံချင်ဘူးအတက်နိုင်ဆုံးပေါ့သူတို့လည်းပေးကြတဲ့ကျွန်တော်လိုအပ်ရင်တော့ကျွန်တော်တို့တွေရင်းတော့ရင်းရလိမ့်မယ်သူတို့လည်းပဲမလိုအပ်ဖဲနဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီလူငယ်တွေရဲ့အသက်တွေအမျိုးသမီးကလေးငယ်တွေရဲ့အသက်တွေကျွန်တော်တို့မပေးဆက်ချင်ဘူးအဲ့တော့ကျွန်တော်တို့သူ့ကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ပြန်ကောင်းလာဖို့ပဲကျွန်တော်အဓိကထားဆုတောင်းပါတယ်ကျွန်တော်ဒီနေ့စစ်အာဏာသိမ်းထားတဲ့အခြေအနေမှာဥပဒေဆိုတာသူတို့နှုတ်ကစကားဖြစ်တယ်သူတို့လက်နက်ကဒါလည်းသူတို့ဥပဒေဖြစ်တယ်ဆိုလို့ကျွန်တော်
And we are now being joined by Tenzai Shunle, an activist from Myanmar, for more on this situation on ground. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the country's new military rulers have stepped up arrests of politicians and activists after rolling back laws protecting freedom. Now, this, as you know, is happening amid mounting international pressure and protests to release political detainees. How do you see this ramping up of arrests affecting the ongoing unrest?
So we welcome the recent statement, like last night, by different embassy in the country. They are warning the military forces from doing harmful action against the peaceful protester. So I think it's a high time for all of us, the international community and the journalists, keep an eye, continuous eyes on the improvement here, the progress happening here. Because last night we had an internet shutdown, but in that situation we couldn't do anything at all. That we can't get our news get out of it, so we need to find an alternative way how to cover news from inside country if the military shut down internet for more than for 24 hours.
Yes, and actually I was going to come to that. Internet access was cut for the 3rd time. What can you tell us about that?
So internet shut down like within 15 days after the coup. We have 3rd time the internet shut down. So they shut down yesterday, this early morning for 8 hours, and they were shut down for 24 hours before that time. So we are pretty worried because why they shut down 8 hours? We have no there is no reason why they did it. So we are also really concerned with the development in the Navy or in the military, what they're going to do within that international shutdown hours. We're not sure about that.
Of course, I can imagine. Also, a protester was shot during the protest and is on life support. Now, this incident definitely made the already dire situation worse. How do you see the situation unfolding?
Today is 15 days after and today is the nationwide call. There is a nationwide call for civil disobedience. So we are expecting more people from the civil servants, civil department to come and join with us. So that's how we see many people out on the street, but especially not on the street, but more in front of the offices, where many staff are not joining yet. So they are encouraging, they are giving pressures to those staff to come and join more and more. So as I see also the military tanks and truck, they are also roaming around since last night, and this morning they withdrew many from the central bank. The military withdrew many from the central bank. We don't know how much they withdrew, and also we see military tanks still roaming in the on the street as well. So today we expect there will be no violence.
Also, what can you tell us about the political detainees? As we know, the remand is now till 17th of February than what was previously thought. What can you tell us about that?
So before that, yesterday at night, as well at midnight, there were shootings in Yijina in Kachin State as well, and 5 reporters reportedly were detained by the military. So we are seeing the military taking a different reactions than the previous day. Also with the Aung San Suu Kyi being detained for many days already, we don't know how she's going. And today, she was supposed to be to face the trial, but now it's been postponed to Wednesday this week.
All right, then, Rajunle, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.